Hello students, welcome back after the break. So we were discussing about the highest order of protein structure, that is 4 degree or quaternary structure of proteins. So as I discussed in my previous part of my lecture, as a first part of my lecture, that quaternary structure is only applicable for multimeric and oligomeric proteins. And the reason is that the multimeric, the oligomeric proteins have not a single peptide chain but are made up of multiple peptide chains. So every peptide chain of an oligomeric protein usually consists of 8 to 10 peptide chains. And every peptide chain of an oligomeric protein with its domains, specific arrangement of its domains, will have its own 3 degree or tertiary structure. And at the highest order of protein structure, what will happen? The thing which will happen is that all the tertiary structures of all the peptide chains would be grouped together and assembled to form and compacted, folded and looped further to adopt and to form a kind of structure which represents the structure of entire protein and is called the quaternary structure, or the 4 degree, or forms the highest order of the protein structure. Hence quaternary structure is actually the structure of many different polypeptide chains of an oligomeric protein, all structures mixed up together, compacted, folded and looped in definite patterns and arrangements. Now I also spoke about the issue that how are the subunits arranged together in a quaternary structure. The subunits are arranged in the form called arranged to represent structural units called protomers. So how are the subunits arranged? The subunits are either arranged in a symmetric fashion, which are similar, or if the subunits are non-identical, then the pattern would be dissimilar, that is would be asymmetric. But to resolve the issue, again, if the subunits are non-identical, then a number of non-identical subunits are grouped together to form a similar repeating pattern, which is repeated several times in the quaternary structure to resolve the issue and to make the structure symmetric and the arrangement symmetric. So the protomer is the structural, that is the representative structural unit of the quaternary structure of an oligomeric or a multimeric, that is of an oligomeric protein, which has its all subunits arranged in identical subunits arranged in a symmetric fashion, or a symmetric pattern, or including or of an arrangement of non-identical subunits grouped together and the pattern being repeated several times. So that is what is called a protomer. Now, before I went for the break, I left two very important questions for you all. The first one was that what is the need of quaternary structure? So what is the need of or importance of quaternary structure in protein biochemistry? Think about it. So can you name few proteins which do adopt or which show quaternary structures? Yes, there are a variety of proteins which are oligomeric with multiple peptide chains and will show quaternary structures. The first such protein whose three-dimensional structure was resolved was hemoglobin, which is 4 times as large as that of myoglobin protein. So a variety of oligomeric proteins are well known, whose quaternary structures have also been elucidated and which are known to adopt a 4 degree structure called quaternary structure. Such proteins include hemoglobin, myoglobin, then collagen, then the proteins usually found in viral coats, the proteins of viral capsids, etc. So what is the need of quaternary structure of those proteins, or what information does quaternary structure convey about such oligomeric proteins, or the oligomeric proteins which I have named just now? That yes, it is that the quaternary quaternary structure that is gives us a well correlation between, or is a well correlation between the structure and functional relationship applicable for each of these oligomeric proteins. It not only provides information about the structure of every peptide chain, but it also provides an information about the symmetry, the way that is the protomer or the structural repeating subunits called protomers are linked together, and also gives an insight into the function of the protein. That is the importance of quaternary structure of oligomeric and multimeric proteins in protein biochemistry. Now, that's a hope it's very clear to you. And the next question was that I asked you to think about the different forms of symmetry which the protomers in an oligomeric protein would be taking up. Now let us be in detail, or let us go through or be very thorough with different forms of symmetry usually taken up by protomers in an oligomeric protein. Now the protomers of oligomeric protein have, now what is the need of this symmetry? This symmetry actually conveys an important relation, that is conveys a very important piece of information about not only the structure but the function of the protein. Now let us be very thorough with different forms of symmetry. Actually, the protomers of an oligomeric or multimeric protein can adopt either of the two symmetric forms, that is, can have either rotational symmetry or helical symmetry. So what do you mean by rotational symmetry? And now the symmetry is rotational when the protomeric subunits of an oligomeric protein are superimposed and are brought to coincide each other, are brought to coincidence by rotation around a single axis or several axes, that is more than one axis. So that is what is called as rotational symmetry of an oligomeric protein, where the protomers are arranged in such a way that they superimpose upon each other and coincide with each other while rotating around a single axis or multiple axis. The symmetry of such an oligomeric protein is called a rotational symmetry. And when it is the rotation, the pattern of rotation of these protomers is like a helical rotation, it is called as helical symmetry. In a helical, when the protomers are arranged in a helical symmetry, the protomers would be rotating somewhat like the helix, rotating from top to bottom, and such a form of symmetry the rotation of such a form of symmetry is actually poorly understood, is very poorly understood. Now let us first take a look over rotational symmetry. So as you already know, as I have already explained and as I already told you, that rotational symmetry is that is in rotational symmetry the structural units called protomers coincide and are brought to coincidence and are made to superimpose over one another by rotation which is permitted around one axis or around more than one axis. So depending upon the number of axis of rotation, again the rotational symmetry may be of different types. The rotational symmetry of the protomers of oligomeric proteins may be of different types, like cyclic rotational symmetry, dihedral symmetry, icosahedral symmetry, depending upon the number of axes, or that is corresponding to any axis of rotation, or depending upon the number of axes around which the rotation is possible. Now let us consider the first case. That is, the first case is cyclic symmetry. It is the simplest form of rotational symmetry which the protomers of an oligomeric protein can adopt. So when is symmetry said to be cyclic? Symmetry is said to be cyclic only when the protomeric subunits of an oligomer actually have or are capable of rotation around only a single axis. Hence, when the subunits are superimposed and are brought to coincidence by rotation around a single axis, it is usually rotational symmetry. Now, such a symmetry can be described better as C subscript small n, where C corresponds to that is cyclic or stands for cyclic, and small n corresponds to the number of subunits that is linked to rotation, or number of subunits that is rotating by the axis. So that here the axis of rotation itself corresponds to small n axis of rotation. Now I'll make these things more clear to you for a protein with a cyclic symmetry, that is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is actually a dimer of dimers and has 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. These are not to be confused with alpha and second forms of secondary structure, alpha helix and beta sheet. So it is a dimer of dimers. Hence it shows a form of cyclic symmetry which can be better described as C subscript 2, where C stands for cyclic and 2 stands for the number of repeating subunit, or the number of subunits which represent each structural protomer of hemoglobin. So this is an example of a protein with cyclic rotational symmetry. Now a next higher form or complicated form of symmetry is dihedral symmetry. So what do we mean by dihedral symmetry? Symmetry of an oligomeric protein or multimeric, that is oligomeric protein, is said to be dihedral when the subunits, when rotation is permitted around 2 different axes. Instead, in cyclic symmetry, while rotation is permitted around a single axis, in dihedral symmetry, rotation is permitted around 2 axes. So that is what is called as dihedral symmetry. That is, the subunits are superimposed and are brought to coincidence by rotation around a dihedral axis which intersects at a right angle with an n-fold axis. Hence there are 2 axes of rotation, and thereby the name dihedral. Intersecting each other, the 2 axes of rotation intersecting each other at right angles. Hence the name dihedral symmetry. The symmetry, dihedral symmetry, can again be described as D subscript small n, where D stands for dihedral and small n again refers to the number of subunits that is linked to rotation. Now let us move on to more complicated form of symmetry, which is very rarely observed, and if observed is mostly found in case of viral proteins and viral coat proteins. An icosahedral symmetry. So an icosahedral symmetry is the third, or is mostly the highest order of rotational symmetry that is observed in case of the protomers of oligomeric proteins. So what is an icosahedral symmetry? The symmetry is said to be icosahedral when it has 3 different, not 2, not 1 as is in cyclic, not 2 as is in dihedral, but has 3 axes of rotation. So such a symmetry of an oligomeric protein is known as icosahedral symmetry. And what do you mean by an icosahedron? I hope you all know, we have studied well in our previous classes and lectures that icosahedron is a regular polyhedron with 12 vertices and 20 equilateral triangular faces. Well, icosahedron is a polyhedron with 12 sides or vertices and 20 equilateral triangular faces. So what happens when when protomers adopt an icosahedral symmetry in an oligomeric protein? The subunits called protomers are rotated and are brought to coincidence by rotation and are superimposed on each other by rotation around one of the 3 axes. Now, can you name a viral coat or a protein by icosahedral symmetry? is found? It's most commonly found in a variety of viral coats, viral capsids, etc. A very common example of such a virus with an icosahedral symmetry or viral protein coat is poliovirus, which has an icosahedral symmetry in which that is enclosing its RNA as nucleic acid. Now, this was all about different forms of rotational symmetry, that is cyclic, dihedral and icosahedral symmetry. Now next come to another class of symmetry, another form of symmetry that is being shown by the protomers of oligomeric proteins, what is called as helical symmetry. So rotational symmetry, when the subunits have rotational symmetry, they tend to take up closed structures. But what is the advantage of having helical symmetry? When the subunits have helical symmetry, which is very poorly understood, actually the subunits tend to take up, the protein has an open structure, the subunits tend to take up a helical form of open structure and are usually added in a spiraling array. Now this helical form of symmetry is again very common in viral coats and in viral proteins. Now, can you name a virus or can you give an example of a viral protein or a viral capsid which shows helical symmetry? Yes, it is a plant virus called TMV, that is tobacco mosaic virus. Tobacco mosaic virus has a right-handed helical symmetry with its 2140 around subunits approx, that is 2140 subunits approx with a right-handed helical symmetry. Yes, so what are the different forms of symmetry that are observed? To summarize, what are the forms of symmetry that are observed in oligomeric proteins? The individual subunits of oligomeric proteins are arranged to form what are called protomers. These are the identical subunits arranged in a symmetric fashion, or a group of non-identical subunits which are grouped together and are repeated several times to form a symmetric fashion again. So there are two basic forms of symmetry which are shown by these protomers of oligomeric proteins. One is rotational symmetry, second one is helical symmetry. In rotational symmetry, that is symmetry said to be rotational of an oligomeric protein, where the subunits rotate around an axis and our rotation is permitted around one or multiple axes. That is called rotational symmetry. The subunits are brought to coincidence and superimpose upon each other as a result of rotation around one axis or more than one axis. So depending upon the number of axes around which rotation is permitted, this rotational symmetry can be of again three types. One is cyclic, which has a single axis of rotation, that is cyclic symmetry is found in an oligomeric protein called hemoglobin. The next higher form of second, that is symmetry, is dihedral symmetry. In dihedral symmetry, that is which can usually be described as d subscript small n. There are two axes of rotation. The subunits are brought to coincide and superimposed by rotation around two different axes, in which a dihedral axis intersects at right angle with an n-fold axis, that is the two axes intersecting each other at right angles. Now the highest order of rotational symmetry is icosahedral symmetry, that is usually a virus with an icosahedral symmetry is a poliovirus. It's a very complex form of symmetry and is quite commonly observed only in case of viral proteins, viral capsids, etc. And in icosahedral symmetry, there are three different axes of rotation and subunits coincide and are brought to coincidence or that are superimposed upon each other as a result of rotation around three different axes. Now this was the story about rotational symmetry. Another form of symmetry that is being shown is helical symmetry by oligomeric proteins. In helical symmetry, which is very poorly understood, and then occurs a form of rotation around a helical axis, and the subunits tend to take up open-ended structures so that, and are usually added in a form of spiralingary. Helical symmetry is commonly observed again in viral cohorts. Now, a plant virus which shows helical symmetry, which shows right-handed helical symmetry with 2140 subunit blocks, is tobacco mosaic virus. So this was all about the 4 degree or the highest or the quaternary structure of oligomeric and multimeric proteins. So it's possible only for oligomeric but not for monomeric proteins, and the proteins can have either rotational symmetry, which can be further cyclic or dihedral or icosahedral or helical symmetry. Now this is the end of today's lecture. Now in my that is future class, I'll be coming with several important aspects of this, that is quaternary structure of proteins. Now I leave a very important assignment for you all at this point, that just think about the issue that what is the important role of quaternary structure that is being played for oligomeric proteins. So is it only a structural aspect, or what other information beside conveying or telling us about structure, what other additional information does it convey about an oligomeric protein or a multimeric protein? So that is the question for which you need to go through your books. You can just take a look over Lehninger Principles of Biochemistry to find an answer to this question. Just browse and keep on going through research papers. So stay tuned. Very soon I'll be coming with my next lecture, which will be all about that is uses of this 4 degree or quaternary structure of proteins, and covering more about classification of proteins and many more interesting things, unraveling and of course exploring, and that is many more interesting things about protein structure. So till then, take care of your health, stay tuned, keep studying. Good night.